The galaxy had witnessed thousands of worlds fall, but when the greatest alien empire in history invaded Earth, they unknowingly awakened the one civilization that had spent centuries hiding its true power. The first warning came at exactly 3:17 Universal Time Coordinated. Every satellite orbiting Earth suddenly went silent. Astronomers watched in disbelief as space itself seemed to fracture above the moon. The stars twisted into impossible shapes, and enormous crimson rifts ripped across the darkness. One after another, colossal alien warships emerged from hyperspace, then hundreds became thousands, and thousands became millions. Within minutes, the sky above Earth was filled with an endless metallic armada stretching farther than the eye could see. Across every continent, people looked upward in stunned silence. Children stopped playing. Cities froze. Even soldiers forgot to breathe. The invaders called themselves the Karzul Dominion, an empire feared across the galaxy for erasing civilizations that refused to submit. Their largest dreadnoughts were the size of mountains, casting enormous shadows over entire oceans as blue plasma engines ignited like miniature suns. Far beyond the solar system, billions of alien citizens watched the invasion through live galactic broadcasts. To them, humanity was just another primitive species about to disappear from history. Then a cold, mechanical voice echoed across every radio, television, phone, and military frequency on Earth. People of Earth, your species has 1 hour to surrender. Resist, and your world will become another forgotten grave. Panic spread instantly. Fighter squadrons launched. Orbital defense stations powered their weapons. Families rushed into underground shelters. Yet inside Earth's unified fleet command beneath the Rocky Mountains, there was no shouting. No chaos. Fleet Admiral Elias Mercer stood silently before the massive holographic display, calmly watching millions of hostile ships around his home world. His officers waited for orders. Instead, Mercer asked a question that made everyone in the command room stare. Has Antarctica responded? A young communications officer hesitated. No, sir, the facility has remained silent for over 2,000 years. Mercer's expression never changed. It won't stay silent today. Before anyone could ask what he meant, every light inside the command center flickered. A deep vibration rolled beneath the Earth's crust. Thousands of kilometers away, beneath miles of ancient Antarctic ice, seismic sensors detected something impossible. An object larger than a continent had just begun to move. Hidden beneath the frozen wasteland, countless dormant systems awakened one after another. Ancient reactors roared to life, forgotten machines illuminated the darkness, and a mysterious artificial intelligence opened glowing blue eyes for the first time in 2 millennia. Then a single classified message appeared on Admiral Mercer's command screen. Protocol Prometheus. Activated. The command center fell into stunned silence as the words, Protocol Prometheus. Activated, glowed across Admiral Elias Mercer's display. No one dared to speak. For generations, Protocol Prometheus had existed only as a classified legend, an emergency measure so secret that even most world leaders believed it was nothing more than a myth. Yet now, as millions of alien warships tightened their grip around Earth, the impossible had become reality. Before Mercer could issue another order, every screen in the room flickered violently. An encrypted transmission broke through every military firewall on the planet. A calm, unfamiliar voice spoke. Custodian intelligence online. Identity confirmed. Welcome back, Admiral Mercer. Humanity's inheritance is ready. The room froze. No database contained any record of a custodian intelligence. Not even Earth's most advanced artificial intelligences recognized the signal. Above Earth, the Karzul Dominion wasted no time. Thousands of carrier ships opened like enormous steel flowers, releasing endless swarms of attack craft. They poured into Earth's atmosphere, their glowing engines painting fiery scars across the sky. Orbital defense platforms answered with storms of railgun fire and missile salvos, turning space into a battlefield of blazing explosions. For a brief moment, humanity fought with everything it had. Then reality struck. Alien energy shields absorbed the attacks with barely a ripple. One by one, Earth's orbital stations erupted into silent fireballs. Across the galaxy, billions watching the live invasion believed the battle was already over. Aboard the Dominion flagship, Supreme Warlord Vorik folded his armored hands behind his back as he observed Earth through a massive panoramic viewport. Primitive, he muttered. They resist because they do not understand inevitability. His officers laughed as another line of human warships exploded beneath relentless plasma bombardment. Yet one junior tactical officer frowned. Supreme Warlord, our long-range sensors are detecting unusual gravitational disturbances beyond Neptune. Vorik barely glanced at the report. Ignore them. They're increasing rapidly, sir. Then they are dying stars or collapsing comets. Humanity possesses nothing capable of threatening the Dominion. The officer reluctantly obeyed. Moments later, every Dominion sensor across the solar system emitted the same piercing alarm. Not one signal. Not 10. Millions. They weren't approaching Earth. They were awakening. Deep within forgotten asteroid fields, beneath the frozen oceans of Europa, inside hollow moons, and hidden among drifting rogue planets, countless unidentified power sources ignited simultaneously. Back on Earth, Admiral Mercer watched the classified tactical map slowly fill with thousands, then hundreds of thousands, of blue icons that had never existed before. His exhausted officers stared in disbelief. Sir. One whispered. Those aren't our registered fleets. Mercer allowed himself the faintest smile. No, he replied quietly. They're the fleets our enemies were never supposed to find. Far beyond Pluto, space itself suddenly cracked open. An enormous blue hyperspace gateway began expanding in absolute silence. And something unimaginably massive started emerging from the light. The blue hyperspace gateway continued expanding until it dwarfed Pluto itself. For several terrifying seconds, nothing emerged. The battlefield fell strangely quiet. Even the endless exchange of plasma fire around Earth seemed insignificant as every sensor in the solar system locked onto the impossible phenomenon. Human commanders held their breath. Alien admirals stared at their tactical displays in disbelief. Then, a single colossal silhouette appeared inside the glowing portal. It moved slowly, almost majestically, as if it had no reason to fear the millions of enemy warships waiting beyond. Layer by layer, an ancient vessel emerged from the radiant gateway. It wasn't merely large, it was so immense that Dominion computers couldn't calculate its full dimensions. Entire mountain ranges could have rested upon its armored hull. The alien sensor network flashed the same warning over and over. Unknown technology. Unknown energy signature. No match found. Supreme Warlord Vorik narrowed his glowing eyes. Identify that ship. His intelligence officers searched every galactic database ever recorded. Nothing. No blueprints. No historical records. No species had ever built anything remotely similar. Then the impossible happened. One of the Dominion's oldest historians, an elderly strategist who had remained silent throughout the campaign, suddenly turned pale. His hands began trembling. I've seen this symbol before. The command bridge froze. On the giant vessel's bow burned a golden emblem unlike any known civilization, a soaring phoenix encircling a blue star. The old historian swallowed hard. It can't be. Vorik's voice hardened. Speak. The historian whispered, almost afraid the ship itself might hear him. The Phoenix Fleet, the civilization that disappeared before our empire was born. Silence consumed the bridge. According to forgotten legends, the Phoenix Fleet had ended the War of 1,000 Suns, defeating an alliance so powerful that entire star systems vanished from history. After their victory, they had disappeared without claiming territory, leaving behind only myths that even scholars dismissed as fairy tales. Vorik laughed. Legends don't return. But before another word could be spoken, the mysterious vessel transmitted a signal that bypassed every Dominion encryption system. Its voice was calm. Ancient. Unmistakably human. This is Guardian Dreadnought Aegis Prime, First Fleet of the Human Ascendancy. We have observed your invasion. You were given every opportunity to leave. You chose war. Across Earth's command center, every officer slowly rose to their feet. Admiral Elias Mercer lowered his head with quiet respect. They're finally home. At that exact moment, the enormous gateway behind Aegis Prime rippled once more. It wasn't empty. Thousands of equally colossal silhouettes were waiting in the blue light. Then the first battle alarm echoed across every alien flagship. The Ghost Fleet had arrived, and this time, humanity was no longer fighting alone. The moment the first Ghost Fleet warship crossed the hyperspace gateway, the entire solar system seemed to hold its breath. Then another emerged. And another. Within seconds, hundreds of colossal human dreadnoughts drifted into view, their dark titanium hulls glowing with faint blue energy. They moved in perfect silence, without frantic maneuvers or desperate formations. It was the calm confidence of warriors who had never learned the meaning of fear. Every ship bore the same ancient golden phoenix crest. The Karzul Dominion sensor arrays immediately failed. Distance calculations returned impossible numbers. Weapon analysis showed zero recognizable technology. Even artificial intelligences designed to predict enemy tactics simply displayed one message. Error. Threat level undefined. Aboard the Dominion flagship, Supreme Warlord Vorik felt something he had not experienced in centuries. Uncertainty. His tactical commander rushed forward. Supreme Warlord. Their fleet appeared without using any known hyperspace corridors. We cannot track their energy source. Vorik slammed his armored fist onto the command console. Impossible. Nothing enters Dominion-controlled space unnoticed. Before anyone could answer, the giant vessel Aegis Prime slowly rotated toward the invading armada. There was no dramatic charge. No warning sirens. Only silence. Then a brilliant ring of blue light expanded around its hull. Across every Dominion battleship, alarms erupted at once. Unknown energy surge detected. Shields destabilizing. Our targeting systems are offline. The next heartbeat changed galactic history. Without firing a visible projectile, Aegis Prime released a wave of invisible gravitational force. Space itself folded like water. The front line of the Dominion fleet, nearly 5,000 warships, simply vanished. No explosions. No wreckage. No distress calls. They had been erased from the battlefield as though they had never existed. A stunned silence spread across every bridge in the solar system. Even Earth's defenders could hardly believe what they had witnessed. Far beyond the battle, billions of viewers watching the live galactic broadcast fell speechless. Empires that had feared the Dominion for thousands of years suddenly watched its greatest fleet recoil in confusion. Inside Earth's command center, Admiral Elias Mercer finally issued his first offensive order. All defense fleets, advance. Human warships that had spent the opening hours retreating now surged forward with renewed determination, fighting alongside the Ghost Fleet. For the first time since the invasion began, the Dominion was being pushed backward. But as hope spread across Earth's forces, a deep crimson transmission echoed through every alien vessel. The Dominion Emperor himself had entered the war. His cold voice thundered across the stars. So, the Guardians have returned. A pause followed. Then came the words that made even the ancient AI aboard Aegis Prime hesitate. Prepare the World Breaker Fleet. If humanity refuses to surrender, we will erase the solar system itself. Far beyond the edge of known space, another hyperspace rift began to tear open, far larger, and far darker, than the first. A shadow swallowed the stars beyond Neptune. At first, Earth's astronomers thought a black hole had appeared inside the solar system. But as the darkness expanded, they realized it wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was a fleet. The crimson hyperspace rift stretched across millions of kilometers, crackling with violent energy. One by one, unimaginably massive warships emerged, each one larger than continents, their armor glowing like molten iron. They carried no markings of the Karzul Dominion. Only a single blood-red symbol. A shattered crown. Deep inside Aegis Prime, the ancient custodian intelligence analyzed the incoming vessels. For the first time since awakening, its calm voice carried a trace of urgency. Confirmed. World Breaker Fleet detected. The words echoed through every human command ship. Admiral Elias Mercer looked toward the tactical display, where hundreds of colossal enemy signatures continued pouring through the rift. So the legends were true, he whispered. Thousands of years ago, during the forgotten War of 1,000 Suns, the World Breaker Fleet had not conquered planets. It had erased entire star systems. Even stars themselves had been turned into weapons. Across the battlefield, Supreme Warlord Vorik slowly knelt as a transmission appeared above every Dominion bridge. The image of the Dominion Emperor materialized, a towering figure wrapped in black ceremonial armor, his glowing eyes fixed on Earth. So, the Emperor said, his voice cold enough to silence an empire, humanity finally reveals its ancient guardians. His gaze shifted toward Aegis Prime. We destroyed your allies long ago. We will finish what our ancestors began. Without another word, he raised one hand. The largest vessel in the World Breaker fleet moved forward. It wasn't simply enormous. It was built around the core of a captured star. Blinding rivers of plasma flowed beneath transparent armor plates, illuminating the darkness with the fury of a living sun. The custodian intelligence immediately identified it. Enemy flagship, Oblivion Throne. Primary weapon capable of stellar annihilation. Every officer inside Earth's command center fell silent. One shot from that weapon could vaporize Earth, Mars, and every inhabited colony in the solar system. Mercer knew the Ghost Fleet alone might not be enough. He closed his eyes for a brief moment, remembering the promise made by generations before him. If the day ever comes, humanity must stand together. Opening his eyes, he activated a sealed command hidden beneath every security protocol on Earth. The screen asked only one question. Authorize final inheritance. Mercer placed his hand upon the scanner. Authorization confirmed. Far beneath Earth's oceans, beneath deserts, inside mountains, and hidden within forgotten lunar vaults. Something far older than the Ghost Fleet awakened. Across the solar system, ancient beacons ignited in perfect unison. Then the custodian intelligence spoke words that made every human heart race. The Titans have accepted your command. Estimated arrival, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. For most people, it was nothing more than the time it took to make a cup of coffee. For humanity, it would decide whether their species survived, or vanished forever. The battlefield erupted into chaos. The Oblivion Throne advanced with terrifying certainty, its star-powered core growing brighter every second. Rivers of molten plasma spiraled around the colossal flagship, bending space itself. Every Dominion warship immediately fell into formation behind it, creating an impenetrable wall stretching across millions of kilometers. Then the Emperor gave a single order. Erase Earth. The solar system trembled. The Oblivion Throne's primary weapon began charging. A crimson sphere of compressed stellar energy formed at its bow, expanding until it dwarfed entire moons. Sensor readings climbed beyond measurable limits. Inside Earth's underground shelters, families embraced one another. Children asked questions no parent could answer. Across military bases, soldiers silently watched the sky, knowing they might never see another sunrise. Yet aboard Aegis Prime, Admiral Elias Mercer remained strangely calm. He wasn't watching the enemy. He was watching the countdown. 2:17. The ancient custodian intelligence suddenly interrupted the silence. Admiral, multiple unauthorized vessels have entered the battlefield. Mercer's eyebrows narrowed. Dominion reinforcements? No. The holographic map shifted. Hundreds of unknown ships emerged, not from hyperspace, but from inside the sun itself. They glided through the raging solar corona untouched, their radiant white hulls reflecting streams of living fire. Unlike the dark Ghost Fleet, these vessels shimmered with golden energy, almost as if they had been forged from light. Every civilization watching the galactic broadcast gasped. No species had ever survived inside a star. The custodian intelligence identified them. Helios Sentinels, confirmed. A forgotten chapter of humanity's history unfolded. Thousands of years earlier, while the Ghost Fleet guarded the darkness beyond the galaxy, another fleet had chosen an even stranger mission. They had hidden inside the sun itself. Waiting. Watching. Preparing for the day Earth truly needed them. Supreme Warlord Vorik stared in disbelief. This is impossible. The Dominion Emperor's expression hardened for the first time. How many? The answer came instantly. Counting complete. A long silence followed. Then every Dominion bridge received the same report. Approximately 1 million Helios-class warships. Shock swept through the invading fleet. But before fear could take hold, every warning system aboard Aegis Prime activated at once. The custodian intelligence's voice lost all calm. Emergency. Mercer looked up sharply. What happened? The Oblivion Throne has completed its firing sequence. Outside, the crimson sphere reached critical intensity. The weapon capable of destroying an entire star system locked directly onto Earth. The Emperor smiled. "Goodbye, humanity." His hand descended toward the firing command. At that exact instant, somewhere deep beneath Earth's ancient crust, a colossal mechanical eye slowly opened. Its glowing blue iris illuminated a chamber larger than a city. Then an ancient voice echoed through the darkness. "Titan Prime, online." The Dominion Emperor's hand slammed onto the firing command. A blinding crimson beam erupted from the Oblivion throne, carrying the fury of a captured star. It tore across the darkness at impossible speed, consuming everything in its path. Asteroids evaporated into glowing dust. A forgotten comet vanished before anyone could even register its existence. Every screen across Earth showed the same terrifying image. The beam was seconds away. Inside shelters, families held each other tightly. Across battle stations, soldiers stood at attention instead of running. There was nowhere left to hide. Far above the battlefield, Admiral Elias Mercer never looked away from the approaching wave of destruction. He simply whispered. "Now." Deep beneath Earth's crust, the mechanical eye of Titan Prime blazed with brilliant sapphire light. Ancient engines, silent for over 2,000 years, roared awake. The entire planet trembled. Earthquakes rippled across every continent. Oceans rose in towering walls. Mountains shook as if something unimaginably massive were pushing upward from the heart of the world itself. Then, the impossible happened. The moon moved. Not by gravity. Not by collision. It shifted with deliberate purpose. Across the galaxy, billions watched in stunned silence as enormous rings of blue energy appeared around the lunar surface. Hidden mechanical structures unfolded from beneath ancient craters, revealing colossal engines that had been concealed since before recorded history. The moon had never been just a moon. It was humanity's greatest fortress. Titan Prime. As the Dominion's planet-killing beam reached Earth, the transformed moon drifted directly into its path. The collision lit the solar system brighter than a newborn sun. For one endless heartbeat. No one could see anything. Then the light faded. Gasps echoed through every command bridge. Titan Prime still stood. Its shimmering blue shield had absorbed the impossible attack. Cracks spread across its barrier, but Earth remained untouched. The Dominion Emperor rose from his throne in disbelief. "No. Nothing survives that weapon." Before his officers could answer, every Helio Sentinel ship surrounding the sun aligned in perfect formation. At the same time, the Ghost Fleet positioned itself behind Aegis Prime. Then, from every hidden vault across the solar system, the ancient titans emerged. Planet-sized guardians climbed from beneath the oceans of Europa. Colossal defense platforms unfolded from Saturn's rings. Gigantic war machines awakened inside hollow asteroids. Thousands. Then tens of thousands. Then hundreds of thousands. The battlefield transformed into the largest human armada ever assembled. The custodian intelligence announced the final count. All Guardian forces are present. Humanity's last defense protocol, complete. Admiral Mercer looked toward the stunned alien fleet. His calm voice echoed across every human vessel. For 2,000 years. We waited. He slowly raised his hand. Today. 1,000,000 human weapons locked onto the Dominion Armada simultaneously. The waiting ends. Before a single shot could be fired, an unfamiliar transmission interrupted every frequency in the galaxy. It did not come from humanity. It did not come from the Dominion. A cold, ancient voice whispered only 6 words. "You have awakened something far worse." The transmission echoed across every battlefield frequency. "You have awakened something far worse." For the first time since the invasion began, both fleets hesitated. Human. Alien. It didn't matter. Every weapon remained locked, but no one fired. The voice carried a strange authority, ancient, emotionless, and impossibly powerful. Then every sensor in the solar system failed. Stars disappeared from navigation charts. Time itself seemed to slow. A colossal rift, darker than the emptiness between galaxies, silently opened beyond the orbit of Neptune. It stretched wider and wider until even the Dominion's largest flagship looked insignificant beside it. From within the darkness, a single eye opened. It was larger than planets. Cold. Ancient. Watching. Even the custodian intelligence aboard Aegis Prime fell silent. After several tense seconds, it finally spoke. Threat identified. Its voice, usually calm and unwavering, carried something no human had ever heard before. Fear. Admiral Elias Mercer stared at the impossible image. What is it? The answer arrived in a whisper. The Devourer. The name alone caused every ancient Guardian system to activate emergency protocols. Long-forgotten archives unlocked automatically, revealing a truth hidden for over 10,000 years. Humanity had never built the Ghost Fleet to conquer the galaxy. They had built it to guard the galaxy. The Devourer was an ancient cosmic intelligence that consumed entire civilizations, erasing not only planets but every memory that those worlds had ever existed. Thousands of advanced empires had vanished fighting it, and humanity's ancestors had chosen to disappear from galactic history so they could stand watch in silence. The Karzul Dominion had mistaken that silence for weakness. Now, because of their invasion, the prison holding the Devourer had been damaged. The Dominion Emperor slowly lowered his weapon. His arrogance was gone. For the first time in his reign, he bowed his head toward Admiral Mercer. We were wrong. Mercer looked at the endless human armada, then at the terrified alien fleet. He knew revenge would be easy. But revenge would doom everyone. He opened a fleet-wide channel that reached every human ship, every Dominion vessel, and every civilization watching across the galaxy. Today is not about who wins. It is about whether the galaxy survives. One by one, human warships lowered their weapons. After a long silence, Dominion ships did the same. Former enemies turned toward the growing darkness together. As Earth rose behind the united fleets, glowing blue against the blackness of space, Admiral Mercer gave one final command. All Guardian forces. Defend every world. Across the galaxy, billions watched in awe as humanity, the species once dismissed as primitive, chose courage over conquest, unity over vengeance, and hope over hatred. Because true strength is not measured by the power to destroy your enemies, but by the wisdom to protect even those who once came to destroy you.